One of my favorite purchases of 2022 is this Bogner Alchemist. There's a lot of reasons why, and I'll go into detail in this video, but I actually saw this listed for pretty cheap, and the first thought I had was, why is this Bogner so inexpensive? I wasn't familiar with these when they were first released, and from what I've read, they were released to pretty mixed reviews. Now, that's not anything necessarily noteworthy. A lot of amps are one person's flavor, but not others. But when it comes to this particular amplifier, I read so much confusing information and opinionated critiques that I knew I had to try one out for myself and all of you as well.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Taylor. There is a lot of really interesting ground to cover with this amplifier, but before we can plug in and check out all the features and before I really get into it, I try to make these videos a collection of information down in the comments as much as possible. So if you have any experience with one or any information on what I go over in this video, or even if you just want to share your thoughts on the tones that I'm producing here, please leave it below in the comments for the benefit of anyone who may be interested in one of these amps.
Okay, so back to it. I was perusing Guitar Center's used gear section as you do at 2 a.m. and came across this amp for $350. I thought, that can't be right. But lo and behold, these amps have just a very low resale value. Now, to understand why is a big deal, and we kind of need to dive into Bogner amps, and specifically Reinhold Bogner himself. Reinhold Bogner was the son of a Telefunken employee in Ulm, Germany, serendipitously also where the EL84 was invented. He started building amps at a young age from spare parts in his father's shop, and he quickly learned that he could manipulate electronic components to produce different sounds and begin modifying amplifiers. And in 1989, he moved to LA and sold a heavily modified Marshall JCM800 to none other than Eddie Van Halen. From his experience modifying both Fender and Marshalls, he was able to develop a sound that would become synonymous with Bogner today. And in 1992, Bogner released their flagship 𝗦𝗦cie amplifier. It was a 3-channel amp with several switchable options. This was to make the path to tone more efficient and reduce the need for external components and complex setups that had become popular during the shred era. And this ethos can still be seen to this day, and even more so in the Alchemist, with not only its several tone-shaping switches, but also its built-in effects. The 𝗦𝗦cie has lasted the test of time and is still a mainstay among high-gain junkies like myself, and I'm assuming probably most of you as well. Now, Bogner amps are known for not only their tone and function, but the quality of the amplifiers as well. These amps are traditionally hand-built in Los Angeles, California, with very high-end components. This is why Bogners come with such a large price tag. Your average 𝗦𝗦cie will set you back about $3,800 to $4,300 new, which is out of most people's budgets. With this hefty price tag, Bogner misses out on the majority of the market share for tube amplifiers, so it makes sense that they would want to produce a lower cost entry option for people with a smaller budget. And this is what the Alchemist was supposed to be, and it was released at a retail price of $899 for the 40-watt head. It features a 6L6 Class AB power section and 5 12AX7 preamp tubes, selectable power between 40 and 20 watts, 2 switchable channels. Channel 1 is the gold channel, is more for your clean and crunch tones, and channel 2 is the Mercury channel, and it picks up where channel 1 left off and takes you into high gain territory if you wish to go there. There's also a parallel effects loop and built-in reverb and delay. So what do you do if you're an eccentric builder and you have the ambitious goal of making a feature-loaded tube amplifier that also only costs $899 at retail? Well, you get in touch with your friends that you previously worked on with an amplifier that we will absolutely cover in the future, so stay tuned for that one, and leverage that relationship to use their mass manufacturing in China to produce your amplifier. Of course.
Now I want to go into this a little bit here because I think some people have some misconceptions about this. I actually asked an anonymous amp builder to modify this amp, and he scoffed me and said, "Isn't that a Line 6 amp?" And it's true that Bogner did enlist the help of Line 6 to do the actual manufacturing of the Alchemist. Like if you look up the service manual, you'll see that it's written by Line 6. But don't get it twisted, this amp was designed with the love and care and panache that you would get from this guy. There's also a misconception that because it was manufactured in China, that it has cheap Chinese components. Many of the parts were actually sourced in the USA and are of the same caliber that you would expect in Bogner's more expensive line of amplifiers. But also it's just part of the reality of the world that we live in that a lot of electronic components are manufactured overseas due to China's inexpensive labor and lax restrictions. And I'm not here to debate for or against this, it's just part of the world that we live on. I'm not standing on a soapbox, so I'm just gonna move on. So if the majority of the components were sourced from their usual manufacturers and the design was from the man himself, surely this amp was destined to be a hit, right? Well, no, not exactly.
I've poured through the forums from the time this amp was released, and you get so many mixed reviews on this thing. And an interesting, possibly coincidental thing that I kept coming across is a lot of music shop employees. And let's be honest here, they're most likely Guitar Center employees. They were a major source of the initial hate. You see a lot of things in the forum like, "We got one of these and it blew up within a few days," or even the highly subjective, "I was stoked and I played it and it sounded like total ass." You'll also come across a fair amount of owners in these forums that sing their praises. But my favorite comment reiterated over and over again is, "It's just not really a metal amp. It doesn't do high gain tones." To me, this is just, yeah, we'll go over it in this video. But it's not accurate. There's also the prejudice that comes with something made in China as just being inherently bad because of its country of origin. All I can say to this is, in my personal experience, I haven't had any issues, but if you have, definitely let us know down in the comments.
And with all of that out of the way, there's really only one thing left to do. Plug it in and see if we should rip it or skip it. Wait a second. That's another video series. What's up guys, I'm plugged into my Bogner Alchemist. I do have a couple pedals going in. I have a Key and Gate by 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗏𝗏 audio that's just trying to cut down on a little bit of the noise going into the amplifier. And then I have a Savage drive right here. We're gonna try this out with this amplifier later in the video. I will go into the reasons why this drive in particular later, but for right now, we're just gonna start on the high gain channel. I have most of the settings set there to like noon. I don't have any of the little dip switches engaged. Let's hear what it sounds like. Sounds really weird. And I think that might be kind of the misconception with this amplifier. I think a lot of people plug into these things for the first time and just like, it sounds bizarre and they have sort of like a difficult time dialing them in because it is a tricky amp to dial in, if I'm being real with you. It's kind of weird that it was a lower priced amp sort of marketed to like beginners. Maybe that was some of the misconception with this amplifier. Maybe that led to some people, you know, not really having great experiences with them, especially like in a guitar store or something like that. If you just plugged in and were like, why does it sound like that? You gotta really tweak some things here. Right away, we're just gonna turn this punch knob on, which gives us a little bit more gain. We're gonna turn the gain up here. We're gonna turn the treble knob. The treble knob is very, very touchy. So let me show you. It goes through quite a wide range of motion there, especially if we turn the bright switch on. Now, this mid switch is really tricky as well. And we have this mid shift, which you can hear just like shifts the mids to more of like a mid high. I'm gonna leave that off and I'm gonna set the mid about. And then bass to taste. So if you look at these settings here, to me at least they look a little bit weird, but you know, it works. And I think we now have a high gain tone that's pretty usable. We are in the 20 watt mode, by the way. We can put that on 40 watt mode here just so you can hear it. I have this on 20 watt mode because when we switch over to the crunch clean channel, it's kind of hard to get that volume under control. So not so much with the high gain channel, but here's what it sounds like at 40 watts. I don't notice a huge difference in the tone, just a little bit less control over the volumes, especially at like lower volumes, you know, which is where I have it sitting right next to it with it pointed kind of at my face. Don't want it to be too loud. And let's turn in the built-in boost, and this is where it sort of gets weird for me. Now there is some sort of like weird harshness in the mids that I feel like this boost sort of accentuates a little bit, but it's not a bad tone. And for the people that like criticize this amp saying it can't do high gain tones and metal tones, it's kind of weird because it's pretty high gain, you know? And we still have more gain to go on the gain knob. Like, let's just max it out. Not my favorite tone in the world. Let's turn this gain knob back down. But when you do turn the gain knob up, you do get a little bit more like punch out of the low end, I guess I would say. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I do have two pedals running into this. I have a 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗏 key and gate, just trying to cut down on some of the noise coming into the amplifier. And then I do have a Savage drive here from Aris Effects. The reason that I like this drive is because of the EQ controls in it. I feel like the EQ controls kind of complement this amplifier a little bit. Let's turn it on and I'll show you why. I really like what the Savage drive does to this amplifier, especially when we use the low mids to cut out that sort of like boxy, thumpy midness that's going on with this amplifier. I feel like it cleans it up a little bit and just makes it a little bit more like angry sounding, snarly, you know? Probably turn that gain down a little bit. I also like the drive character that the Savage drive adds as opposed to the boost that's built into the amplifier. And the drive in this amplifier is a little bit harsh. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Not harsh like a fuzz pedal, just harsh. Like the gain is just really like almost like compressed sounding a little bit. So using the Savage drive and then being able to like cut back on the gain on the amplifier a little bit just helps it out, in my opinion. Let's switch over to this other channel here for those of you that want to hear it. Savage drive is off. This is a clean tone. Actually, let's cut the bass out. We're on the clean setting. We have the bright switch on. We also have the deep switch on. I have the bass turned back. This is the clean sound. It sounds pretty good. You know, for a clean sound, it sounds pretty good. I think that's why people say, you know, these amps are really like blues amps and not metal amps, is because the clean probably sounds better than the high gain, at least without a lot of effort and some additional pedals. But let's go to the crunch sound here. Let's go to crunch and we'll turn up the gain quite a bit. And it is just so loud. And just like not really. I mean, it's a sound. It's not a sound that I would particularly use often, but I'm sure that's someone's like ideal tone right there. Let's turn the gain up and then let's turn in the built-in boost. See if we can get it to do this sort of Marshall thing that people talk about. Not really. I mean, a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not like thrilled with it, but you know, if you like that sort of thing, more power to you. Let's turn the Savage drive on. Here, let me turn on the effects real quick. I'm just going to turn all of these up to noon so you can kind of hear what they do. Let's go to clean setting here. It's not bad. Let's turn the delay to like the ducking. I actually think the digital effects sound really good. They don't sound bad at all. But I think what we ended up getting was an amplifier that might be, you know, like a little bit misunderstood, might have some built-in prejudice with it, might just not serve the audience that it was priced to serve. And I think now they just sort of exist on the used market. So, you know, if you're interested in this, if you dig what's going on here, it's not a bad score. But, you know, if you don't want an amplifier that you have to spend a lot of time with to understand and really get the tone you want out of it, which might still not happen, I would steer you clear of this one. You're gonna have to put some time in on this guy. If you want instant metal tones without too much work, just, I don't know, buy a 5150 or something. So what do you guys think about the Bogner Alchemist? Is it a total sleeper amp or is it a total dud? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, I hope all of you have enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by using the built-in tools placed here by the algorithm overlords, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.